Wahahaha, it's the next live stream. Welcome, this is Ken. I want to introduce the sponsors, Dark Monk and Flowtoys, to our brand new weekly live stream. Also, I want to let you guys know we are going to announce the winner in this stream of the $190 Flowtoys Flowchuck giveaway. Woo! Even if you signed up right now for Patreon, all $8 or more Patreon donors have the chance to win. I will write your name in before I do the drawing, which is probably going to happen in about 15-20 minutes. Okay, maybe 30. Let me get to... Okay, so this is a brand... This is kind of new to me, so I'm still trying to get everything worked out here. Boom! Hello, welcome to Flowtricks. This is Ken. Okay, let me give me just a moment while I connect our chat so I can see what you guys are talking about. Boom. That's like a light boom. So that's good. Welcome to Flowtricks. It's Ken. Like I said, this is going to be our live stream. Please feel free to ask any questions while I'm doing this live stream. We have a couple things. I have like one technique to show you guys, and then I'm going to answer questions for more techniques. I also brought my staff, my chucks. I brought some things with me, so you guys feel free to ask about all different kinds of props or even about the website. Now, before I say everything else, just happy belated 2018 if you haven't been on here. We're going to do live streaming every Thursday at 7 o'clock until I say so. And also, I wanted to announce one more thing. Just give me a second here. This takes me a minute. I probably should have done this beforehand. Give me 1 second. Jeez, I hope this works. Boom. Did this work? Okay. So I'm having some technical difficulties here. Give me a minute here. Give me just one more second. There we go. Boom. All right. I wanted to announce the Flowtricks Spinner of the Month. Anthony Cruzen is awesome. He's the one that puts this together. But our January 2018 Flowtricks Spinner of the Month is Nino Brunette. And you can read all about him on the website. If you go to www.flowtricks.net, Anthony just wrote about it. I thought I would share just a little bit of a video with Nino flowing. He's come a long ways. He's awesome. Let's just play this video. Boom. Cool, right? I really hope the music's coming through too. I'm just going to turn this down for a second. This is Nino. I mean, we have a lot of Flowtricks spinners out there. So if you want to get known, or if you don't know how to be selected as Spinner of the Week, just go on flowtricks.net, start posting some videos, start saying hello. We're gonna choose people, of course, for every month, and as well as you get bonus points. Some people could use their points to get the Flowtoys Glowchuck as well. And one more thing, and then I'm going to just start talking to people and start teaching. This is the Flowchucks that we're giving away. It's a lot like these, except for I'm actually only using 2 capsules, and this the Flowtoys Flowchuck actually has 4 capsules. The reason why I do that is just because I like having a staff too. So when I only have 2 capsules, but normally you'd also have a second set of glow right here and right here. So your chuck is really bright, really glowing. It's really awesome. And again, we'll do that at the very end of this live stream. I will check my Patreon before I pick names. If anyone else has donated to the $8 a month at patreon.com/Flowtricks, then I will also add their name to the list. And yeah, so with that said, let me get back here. I'm still learning to navigate. I'm going to start reading some stuff off and seeing if anyone has any questions. So if you have questions, this is the time to ask right now. So I'm going to go look here. What's up, Kung Fu Way of Life? Yup. Ninja Bacon, welcome. That's awesome. Vignac, what's up? And Corey, I know, right? That was some nice flow on Nino. He puts in his work. Yeah, he does. Nino puts in his work. I feel like there's a lot of people, there's so many people that I'd love to showcase, and I just think Spinner of the Month is just a great way to show people some things. So do you guys have any questions or what? If you have any questions about some flow, I'm here for you all. Otherwise, I think I'm just going to start with a few things. Now, I know Martial Arts Month was, I'm not going to say it's a bust, but I got loaded with gigs and then I got ridiculously sick. So I'm thinking about extending Martial Arts Month. But we're going to go to the main floor here. Give me just a moment. Boom, there we go. Gotta make sure that I can see what everyone's asking. There we go. We're gonna go to the main floor here, and I wanna go over a few techniques and tricks. If you have any requests right now, this is the perfect time to ask. So with Martial Arts Month, I'd like to bring someone with me so we can actually demonstrate some actual martial arts, because I could stand here and be like, here's how to punch, here's how to kick, but without someone to actually stand there, it's just not nearly as fun. I do have this little guy right here, which is going to be great. We're going to start working a little bit of back tricks when we do combat chucks, or if you just wanted to get a feel for the chucks. Kind of want to go over this really quick too. There's a big difference in... So sometimes people say like, well, if you can flow with chucks, you can fight with chucks. And there's some truth to that. But there's also some differences as well, because if I'm using a chuck and I'm going into like this really nice flow, the thing that most people, even if you're on YouTube, you'll see this is like how to fight with chucks, and they're like, wow, like this, right? But what they never consider is the fact that every time you swing, it rebounds. If there's a rebound that happens, and if you don't do it right, you can either smack your arm like that, see that? Or you can even go and smack your face. So I'm going to do it just a little bit since we were just getting over Martial Arts Month, so I figured we'd cover this really quick. I'm going to show you, I would say there's like 3 different ways that I like to swing a chuck if I'm trying to hit an object. One is to follow through. So as I swing and I hit at an angle, if you just stop, that's what causes the rebound. So if you swing and just stop, that's when it starts to rebound. So what you're going to do, number 1 is not to swing in a straight line where it's straight across, so if it does rebound, it hits your arm. We're going to kind of come down a little bit at an angle so the chuck will fly over. It'll fly over, or it's going to fly under. Actually, I find it easier to go under when we're striking. So we're here, and it's going to go underneath my elbow. What this will cause is a ricochet. As you can actually see, it's going to ricochet the other way. This is a really great way to get in 2 hits. So what you do is you swing and you hit them, and then the ricochet of the motion will actually cause it to rebound the other way. So once you get done swinging and you're holding it, you're actually going to pull it back the opposite way, and that'll allow for 2 hits. I just pulled my hand out because it's like, back, back. So this is not something you can do though without a bag or some sort of object or person. Don't do it on a person. But you need something to actually bounce off of. And this is why I feel like when you watch YouTube videos, if they're teaching you how to fight with chucks, they need to have an object that they can hit, because it's totally different dynamics than without hitting, if you're just slicing through air. Because this is a bouncy object, it tends to want to rebound. I'm going to check something really quick here. Excuse me. I'm just going to read this really quick and then I'll come back. Do you have any tips on teaching a class? I find I get anxious and flustered, even if I know the material like the back of my hand. Oh yeah, sure. So that's a good question, and I'm going to tell you the truth. Learning to teach is a lot like its own skill. For instance, usually when there's a new person trying to teach, they'll be like, okay, today in class, let's do the figure 8. And here's how you do a figure 8. Just kind of swing it over here and swing it over there, and swing it over here and swing it over there, here and there, see, follow me? And the reason why like this type of teaching happens is because a lot of us are kinesthetic learners, meaning we know how it feels. And so if we demonstrate how it feels, we can think that we're teaching a class. And that can be true, because then what may happen is like, well, let me slow it down, you go here and you go here. But a lot of times, to be a good teacher, you have to learn different ways to describe it. So tricks on helping a person how to teach is, one is be very visualistic. For instance, if you think, I'm a ninja, I'm a samurai, and I'm cutting a samurai down, just slashing from my shoulder down to my hip, all of a sudden I created a direction that they can think of, shoulder to hip, slash down, oh, there goes a ninja. Now we have to bring this up around to the top of the shoulder. See, so I'm kind of going over it very slowly instead of kind of demonstrating or showcasing, which some people learn this way, but a lot of people don't. And then all of a sudden, you give them a visualization. I'm going to chop them diagonally down. Whoosh! Oh my gosh, I just slashed them. Now I'm going to bring it up. I'm going to slash the opposite direction. Whoosh! Like that. So you can use like visualizations like that. Like for instance, what if someone said, just kind of cast out your chuck like you're fishing? And they'll probably just kind of do it naturally, just thinking about how would you hold a fishing pole. So if you can find ways to relate chucks with other ordinary things, then it helps them a lot. You know, like if you're trying to help someone with a horizontal overhead, you might think, you know how you just kind of like block the sun out with your hands and you look over it? Now just kind of put your hand over your head and try it, block it out, you know? And all of a sudden you say, oh, okay, that might help with that kind of spin. So think of things that people do that they may be able to relate to. And then the other one, of course, is just being able to visualize and break everything down into little pieces. So I like to use the clock a lot. So I say counterclockwise or clockwise, which I'm doing totally backwards. And then I also like to do like 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock. There's a lot of ways that you can do it, but I tend to like the clock, even though clocks are barely used anymore. We finally have a use for a clock. But it gives a good visualization so someone can find it. It gives a good visualization so someone can find it. By the way, please let me know if the microphones are not being picked up. I'm just kind of testing this out. So I hope that helps you. Let me see what else we have here. Live stream only allows 2 comments in succession, then you have to wait a while. Oh, bummer. How do you spin one-handed from one side of your body over your head to the other side? One-handed from... Nunchuck Ninja, how do you spin one-handed from one side of your body over your head to the other side? I keep feeling like it's asking like if I have 2 heads. I know that's not true though. All right, well, one-handed from one side of your body to overhead to the other side. I think what you're referring to, I'm not sure. Oh, I gotta go back here. There we go. Hey, now you can see. I'm not sure if this is what you're referring to, but are you talking about like where we're going overhead and then there's a pass off? I mean, there's a lot of different ways that we can switch it around. A lot of times, a lot of my passes come from behind the back. So like, this is a nice one because, like, this pass is kind of hard to detect. So let me show you this one, and maybe this will help you. But as we're going up and down and around the body, if the chuck is spinning kind of in the same direction as where your arm is, so if it's my right and I'm doing a horizontal spin, it's going clockwise, we just kind of wrap it around the body until our arm is totally like stuck to the other side. And it's going to bounce off of our stomach. The rebound from our stomach allows our hand to grab it like so, and allows the pass to continue to the other side. This is nice because it's just an easy, sneaky way to sneak the chuck from one hand to the other while keeping it kind of theatrical. So I hope that helps. Let me see what other questions we got. Boom, all right. I wanted to ask about the wave you do with your wrist. I'm not sure which wave you're talking about. Like, there's an infinite wave, there's a infinite wrist roll. Teaching is the best way to really understand something. That's true. That's true. It helps you to break it down. Let me try this one. I want to ask about the wave you do with your wrist. I saw you do it on one of your videos. Let me see. So when you're talking about the wrist, I'm wondering if you're talking about, I mean, there's a lot of different waves that we can do with our wrist. I'm thinking you might be referring to the syncopated, or there might actually be, which is a little bit trickier, but there's also like an infinite roll that happens if you scoop it up. Now this is kind of advanced, and what's really funny is sometimes I'll teach this to beginners and they'll get it, but let's go ahead and try this just for fun, which basically you're going to kind of creak your hand down like it's some sort of monster, like Pac-Man or something. But creak your wrist down like this, and we're going to point it out like so. Okay, so all of a sudden it's like I'm high-fiving the ceiling awkwardly, like this. So again, if you have your palm out, kind of twist it all the way out till my left side is facing the left direction. So, man, see, now we're talking about teaching, and I'm not describing this well. I'm trying to find ways to describe it. But basically here, twist it all the way out so left is facing left. And then we're going to take the chuck, and we're going to just rest. We're going to rest the rope on your wrist, and we're going to twist it all the way around like this. Now, if you can do this fast enough, so it looks like it's going almost a full rotation, it's going 75% of a rotation. If you can do this fast enough, what will happen is you'll be able to twist your wrist while this is still spinning and allow you to recatch the chuck, and then you twist it again. So so this is constantly spinning this way, and there's this motion where as soon as you hit the end, you almost like give it a little bit of a lift and then a drop to flip it back. If you can do that just right, oops, you should be able to, I just hit myself. You should be able to create like an infinite roll. Like that. It's not an easy move. I would consider that to be kind of an advanced move, but it's really fun to do. You can try that out and see if that works for you. Excuse me. All right, what else we got? All right, good job. The mic's good, I'm glad to hear that. Audio great. Comment thing must be just me, or maybe not allow for emojis. Okay, cool, yeah, let's do tips on fire spinning. This is a good question that I actually get a lot. Give me just a second here. So, tips on fire spinning. The number one tip about fire spinning is you get with a fire spinning troupe. I cannot say that enough. There's just about a fire troupe in every place, because you need someone that's experienced to know how to safety. Now, if you don't have anyone at all that does fire in your area and you want to learn how to do fire chucks, the next best thing is to research, talk to people that have done it. We still have Flowtricks online. There's lots of people that do fire spinning there that you can talk to, including myself or Jared Miller, or we've got a few people, but learning how to fire spin with chucks is serious business. Now, a lot of times fire spinning itself is not extremely dangerous, but there are still things that you could do that could put yourself in danger if you don't honor like the basics. So before you do anything with fire, I always say respect the fire. Learn how to respect it, learn how to treat it well, and so that way you'll know what to do. Now let's just say you know all the safety rules, okay? Let's say you got all the safety down, and again, that's because you've consulted people. Maybe you have a safety. You always spin with the safety, someone that can put you out, because sometimes you might do a bounce here and your back might start catching on fire, but you can't see it, and that's why you want someone to watch you. So always have a safety, and they have a safety towels. Okay, we're going to pretend that you already know this, or that you found a troop. The number one goal when you first start is going to be to get acquainted with the chuck on fire. It's not going to be to throw out fancy tricks or anything crazy. It's just going to be to feel what it feels like to have a nunchuck on fire. So the first thing you want is an escape route. Your escape route is what happens if the fire gets too much, because fire nunchucks are one of the hardest fire props in my opinion, because the fire is right next to your hand the whole time. So the number one thing is, say, when things go awry, I'll hold my hand over my head like this to keep the chuck like burning like a torch, so I'm in 2 back grips, and I'll walk. And the reason why you walk is to draw the fire backwards. So if the fire is really intense, sometimes you can still feel it by your hand, but as long as you can walk or keep this waving around, what it'll do is it'll drag the fire behind you, so you won't feel it. You won't feel the intensity of the heat. So especially when you first light a chuck on fire, it's really intense heat, so you're going to walk around and you're going to have this as a contingency. The second thing is, if you can't do this, then you drop it on the floor and have your safety. And I'm assuming you're dropping it on concrete. You're not going to drop it on like something flammable. And then your safety, who has a safety towel, fire extinguisher, or whatever, usually a safety towel, puts out your chuck so you don't have to like worry about that. That's another reason why you have a safety, in case it gets too hot or too intense. From there, once you have a backup plan, the next thing to do is to see, well, how can I get a feel for the chucks? Well, here's the thing. When you first light chucks on fire, they are intense and there's a lot of flame happening all at once. So the number one thing that I would say is do things you can do very simply, things that can keep the chuck in motion fast, which is usually the figure 8 wrist roll. If you have your first burn or first couple burns and all you're doing is figure 8 wrist rolls, you're success. I consider this a success. If you can just do this while it's on fire, it's amazing. Now, of course, you want to be a performer, and that's fine. You want to do all these crazy tricks, that's fine. But remember, your goal right now is to learn the essence and the quality of the fire. It's not going to be to throw out the tricks yet. Once you've acquainted yourself with that, then you're going to realize a lot of the tricks that you could do, they change when it's on fire. There's a little bit of a drag that happens. So that's what I would suggest is the number one goal is first to be safe, have all your safety measures in place. And then second, to just learn how it feels to have a chuck on fire, because it's totally different. Okay, let me come back here. Excuse me. You guys, you have no idea. I was so sick. For Christmas, I was bedridden all the way to New Year's. I coughed so much that I actually pulled a muscle in my back. I threw my back out. I couldn't even get out of bed one night because I was just shivering so much. I think my back may have seized up. Anyways, this is all of the Patreon donors that are $8 or more. One of these people is going to win an awesome Flowtoys Glow Chuck tonight. I'm going to announce it very soon. I'm going to answer a few more questions. Speaking of which, excuse me. See, I'm still a little bit sick, so I'm going to just make sure that I'm going to check here and see if we have any new Patreon donors. You guys just came here to watch me cough in my live stream. Okay, I'm going to go over a couple more things here. When you use chucks, fire chucks, does it change the type of tricks that you can, or can you apply most of the same techniques? Sorry. So if you could imagine that these are on fire, the number one thing you're going to realize is you can't grab the ends, right? Not only that, it's hard to grab close to the end because this may be hot searing metal, among other things. So most of your grip is pretty high. Also, as a fire chuck spinner, I find that this is more if you want to be theatrical, like if you want to get gigs and you want to get booked as a circus artist. So you're going to change what the types of moves that you do, because sometimes the most technical, like this is a lot harder to do. You know, the infinite wrist roll, the infinite spin. The infinite syncopated, but most people aren't even going to care about that. But then all of a sudden you bust out a wheel and people are freaking out, right? And you're thinking, well, it's the wheel. Like, come on, I learned that a long time ago. But what people like is, first, they like to see tricks that are really easy for them to read, because you got to think they have kind of like a kindergartner mind in that they haven't learned how to do chucks. So they're going to see what appeals to them is going to be a lot different than what appeals to us. And then secondly, usually anything that deals with fire close to your face, the crowd loves. So like I can get a huge audience response just by holding the chucks by my face. Obviously there's fire coming up, so there's tricks to that, which is basically you walk backwards to draw the fire forwards. But it's gonna be like a lot of, I'm not gonna say that it's like a selling out kind of thing. It's a totally different type of communication, because you're doing things for your audience. Now if you're alone and you're spinning fire, either way your techniques are going to change, but what I'm saying is the most visually stimulating things as a performer is not necessarily what feels or makes you work the hardest. It's going to be kind of what flows the best, so to speak. Like a painter, like any spins are really interesting to watch, But will people recognize it or not? It just depends on the kind of person, really. You still might be able to get more out of just a standard wheel than you could with maybe even just like a reverse illusion roll or something that takes a lot more effort. So to answer your question, it's definitely different because you have fire. Oh, come on now. There we go. It's definitely different because you have fire. Like the techniques do change. Eventually you'll find the transition point, but it can still be pretty challenging. Okay, so facing the camera directly vertical on a figure eight on one side of your body and then over your head to show would be facing. I mean, you don't want to get there's always gray areas to everything I say. So be sure that if I say something, don't take it too literally. Will you go over redirects? I have a hard time knowing where to go after figure eight wrist rolls. Sure, yeah. We can go over some redirects. Boom. All right. So what I would call a redirect is just basically anytime the chuck is supposed to go one direction and then it goes the other direction. So I find one of the easiest, this is the easy way for you to, for instance, if you're going doing a vertical spin, to all of a sudden we're going horizontally, and it's just because we redirected it. That means we're intercepting the motion of the chuck. So as soon as the chuck, in this instance, as soon as the chuck is closest, it's completely horizontal, which is 9 o'clock like this. As soon as it's here, my hand is going to palm it forward, and it's going to totally intercept the motion to cause it to go into my deltoid. So like that. And that allows me to now all of a sudden go into horizontals. And it can be done with anything really. I mean, you can redirect. There's so many different ways that you can redirect. But when you first start, just go ahead and just see if you can try this. Just get the chuck spinning this direction, or actually let's go upwards. We're gonna have it going clockwise. You're gonna take your hand, and you're gonna be like, palm, blah. So here, palm. And go nice and slow and just see if you can palm. And then catch it or whatever else you wanna do. Bam, catch. Redirects always just kind of confuse the eye to make it think that it's going to go one direction and then it goes the another way, okay? And a lot of times it's because you can wrap your hand around something or you can slap it out of the way. Redirects are not necessarily bounces. It doesn't, but it's kind of the same. It's kind of the same concept. Now, if you really are curious more about redirects, I have some videos. Just look up Hyperstyle, Ken Hill Hyperstyle. I think that'll help you out a lot. Okay, back to chat. Back to chat. So again, you guys, I'm going to do this every Thursday at 7 o'clock Central Standard Time. So I hope you guys are enjoying it. I'm really having a blast because I finally get to connect with you all. And usually, you know, I'm wondering what kind of videos to make, and now I can just answer your questions directly. Fire is my favorite part of flow. I wish there were more flow groups in my area to practice. From Corey. You know, when I started in Omaha, I had to create my own community here, which is crazy because now there's I lived in Omaha, Nebraska. There's a huge fire community now, but when I first started, it was almost non-existent. So sometimes if you start it, you can create it because there might be people that have always wanted to learn, or there might be people that are kind of stragglers that don't know where to go, just like you. And all of a sudden, if you just put it out like a calling card, people will start coming. That's what I would suggest. Do the wheel slow, bro. Okay, I'll go over the wheel, and then I'll probably get a couple more questions, and then we'll go announce the Flowtoys winner. So to do the wheel slowly, there's a lot of ways you can do a wheel, but the way that I like to do it is I like to take my pointer finger and lay it on the rope on the top here, and then behind on the other side. So basically, I'd be like if I held my palm out and then I just lowered my pointer finger to go down by the rope. So it's here, and I lower my pointer finger to kind of go right in between where the chuck and the rope begins. Now the other side, I'm doing the exact opposite, except for I'm on the opposite side of the chuck. So as you can see, if I was to break this down, my pointer finger is here on this side, and then my other pointer finger is on the other side over here. That allows me to, when I push it, it's always creating this forward motion. Now, when I like to do it, I like to start and get it really nice and high. So, like, my right hand's really nice and high almost by my nose, and I give it like a shove down while I give this a shove up. Now, obviously, don't hit your chin, but if we give it like a little bit of a boost, and then you can take it nice and slow to start. So just kind of see if you can just let it feel its rotation without pushing into it. It may help you to start to get it, but really this pushes up, this pushes down. I kind of put it by my nose, and then you just kind of let it spin just to get the feel of it. Now, once it starts to spin, you can try to push it faster or slower, but I generally say when you do it, don't go in like a big circle, be more like oblong like this. So it's like, it's more like an oval than it is a circle. And then the last trick is to keep it going. You have to remember not to go too fast, because the faster you go into the circle, the faster you have to go to maintain it. So once you get the circle going or the wheel going, see if you can slow down your spin so that way you maintain control. If we go faster and faster, eventually it'll come too fast and it's just going to fly off of our hands. So once you get the wheel going, the idea that I would say is to keep it as slow as possible while keeping it going forward. And in that way you won't lose control of the wheel. So hope that helps. Let me see here. All right. Can you do an infinite one finger loop out of the wheel? I can do one finger wheels. I can't do infinite just because I haven't practiced it enough. There's really a lot of great nunchuckers out there, and they all have their own specialty. For me, I've always focused on like performance because I just wanted to be a circus performer. So I try to focus on big body movements as much as possible. I haven't really gotten the infinite one finger wheel. I mean, I can do two. Maybe someday. We'll see. Anyways, with that said, I think it's time to announce the winner. So this is my hat, and as you can see, this is everyone. So there's two ways you could have entered into this drawing. One is that you could be an $8 Patreon donor or more. Speaking of which, let me check one more time. I'm going to check Patreon. If anyone has donated by now, I'm going to add their name to the list. If not, totally cool. Just want to make sure I didn't get any last minute strays that just popped in. Give me 1 second. Okay, perfect. So I'm gonna, there's two ways that you could have gotten your name into this. One is that you're an $8 Patreon donor or more. Every month I'm gonna be doing giveaways, and we'll be announcing it in the live stream. The other one is that if you were participating on the Flowtricks.net website, there's an easy way to get a free one just by posting or writing in your Flow journal. And I'm gonna do this again next month, so like if you're active on the Flowtricks website, it's an easy way to also get an extra entry. So here we go. As you can see, we have a few names here. I'm going to put it all in the hat. I'm going to stir it around. I'm going to choose 5 names to start with because I'm trying something different. I'm going to choose 5 names, and then from those 5, I'm going to choose one of those 5. So this not only does it also shows that I, obviously put in random names. So here we go. We're going to choose 5 names, and then of those 5, there will be one winner. Number 1. Okay, Dennis Halby has an entry. We got 4 more to grab. Let me just 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so Dennis Halby has an entry. Next up, Charles Awad. All right, the next contender, Anthony Cruson. Got 2 more to go. Mentaiko, Mentaiko is his alias. And lastly, Melissa Torgerson. So I have 5 names here, and one of these will be the winner for tonight. Pretty exciting, huh? I'm pretty excited. Anyways, I really hope you guys like this live stream. Like I said, I'm going to be doing this a lot more. I really, every Thursday at 7 for the time being. Hope you like my new studio too. All right, so I'm going to put this behind my back, and I'm going to just twist it up until I have 1 left in my hand. Boom! Okay, I have 1 left. This is the Flowtoys Flowchuck winner for December. Sorry, I'm thinking it's January. It's December. Here we go. Boom! Mentaiko! Congratulations, man. Congratulations. You've been a long time supporter of Flowtricks. Congratulations, Mentaiko. I will send you a message, or his name is Ben. We won't use last names. But I will send you the Flowtoys Flowchuck. I'll get in contact with you through Patreon. Thank you so much. And again, I'm going to be having giveaways every single month for $8 or more Patreon donors as my way of kind of giving back to you guys as well. I'm going to answer some last final questions. Everyone be sure to congratulate Nino for being Spinner of the Month. Remember, you can participate as well. And also congratulate Mentaiko for his awesomeness. Awesomeness. I like that. All right. Well, I think that's all the questions that have been answered. I hope you guys enjoyed this live stream. I really appreciate it. This has been really fun. Thanks again, everyone. And yeah, keep watching Flowtricks. Send me a message if you guys need anything else, and I will chat with you all soon.